Hello and welcome to another episode of the Contractor Grow Show. My name is Mark Lamberth. I'm the host. And today I'm speaking with Adam Nauerth at Nauerth Homes in Syracuse, New York. Adam, thank you so much for being with us today.
Yeah, thanks, Mark. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, so we've taken a look at what you guys are doing. Some gorgeous work in Syracuse, doing a lot of building there and got a lot of great reviews. Looks like you guys have got a great company. Maybe you could just tell us kind of the history of the company, where you guys are at today.
Oh, man, where do I start here? Well, I didn't think I was going to be a builder. I originally went to school at Nazareth University, got a degree in communications and rhetoric, and thought I was going to actually do like public relations and sports. Long story short, I didn't want to go that route after finding out a few things, and I got into sales. Did that for about 4 years and absolutely hated it. I was doing, sales over the phone and stuff like that. And really just isn't me and really my personality. My wife is a doctor of physical therapy and she wanted to do physical therapy. So she started looking for contracts across the country. She got her first contract in Columbia, South Carolina. We moved there for a little bit and I worked in commercial construction. And then we moved up to DC, or right outside of DC in Alexandria. On a whim, I started emailing builders and contractors just because I was trying to grow my resume, right? And reached out, not knowing I reached out to the number one custom builder in Northern Virginia. I'm really lucky. His name is Mark Stahl at Stahl Homes. He's right in Vienna, Virginia. And I worked for him for about a year. He's still a mentor to me to this day, and is just one of the most humble, gracious people I've ever met. He was like, hey, if you have any interest in being a builder someday, come be my right-hand guy for as long as you're here, and I'll show you what to do. And when my wife's contracts ended, we decided to move back home. At the time, we were living in Rochester, which is where I'm from. I have 2 daughters now, so we ended up moving where she's from. She went to Westhill High School in Syracuse, so that's how we got here. And Nauerth Homes decided to start a business in December of 2019. Perfect timing. And I've had incredible clients. Everything is word of mouth. And that's where we're kind of at now, is we're still growing. We were really just remodeling when we started. And it was really only me. I was on the tools. I was doing everything. And now we've grown into high performance custom new builds, very detailed. We have a great architect team at Nauerth Group here in Syracuse that we work with. They're fantastic. And yeah, we've just grown into that. We still do additions and some large renovations, but we mainly focus on custom homes now.
Interesting. So yeah, I see design, build, construction companies. You guys are doing everything just sort of from the ground up, right? I mean, with an architect, as you say, and just kind of doing the whole piece of it, building houses from beginning to end.
Yeah, I really call myself a science-backed, hands-on builder. So when I'm building your home, I'm going to be there every step of the way. I still am, to a point, really a one-man crew. I have a fantastic crew and team members, that I call them, subs, that I work with on every project. We work great together. I'm very lucky in that aspect. But I am your builder. I'm your project manager. So when you're building a home, you're going to work with me through when we first sit down with the Nauerth Group all the way to the finish.
Okay, cool, man. What does it mean to say science-backed homes? It's an interesting term. I like that.
Yeah, so I'm a big Matt Reisinger fan. If you couldn't tell, I got Build on my hat, and the standards that he follows, I really follow as well. And those weren't just from me following Build. Those were prior to that. When I started the company, I knew, knowing that the company was going to be my last name, that I really had to focus on the standards, the quality, craftsmanship, and then really bringing in the science there, just following those processes, following the materials that are going to work the best, that are going to create a home that lasts a long time, especially if people are going to pay the kind of money to build their forever home that they're paying now. Like, we need to have those homes just be better and live up to a better standard.
Interesting. And so when you're working with your architects, it can be a special relationship. Sometimes it's sometimes a little contentious, right? Architect designing a thing that it's then difficult for a builder to build. How do you work with, it sounds like you've got a great architecture team. How long have you been working with those guys? And I mean, what's that relationship like? And how do you guys kind of really get on the same page so that you guys really understand kind of the end product that you're looking for so that it can be designed well and affordably designed, and then it can be built well on time and kind of on spec.
Working with my architects, I don't think, I might be an oddball in this. I don't think between the architects I work with at the Donahoe Group, whether it's Angela, Colin, or Guy, I don't think we've ever really had an argument. And they would back me up on that. Sometimes I'm in communication with one out of the three or all three of them almost on a daily basis, whether we're putting a home together, whether we're putting an addition together. They understand my standards and my craftsmanship and the quality that I want to present to the client, and their standards align almost perfectly with that. And I got incredibly lucky by even getting to know them. I happen to know one of Guy's sons that is a physical therapist that was in the same program as my wife in college. And that's how I met my wife, was at Nauerth College. I got incredibly lucky. Ryan went to me one day. This was like 2 years into my company, right? And he goes, my dad's an architect. I was like, Ryan, what do you mean your dad's an architect? I was like, that would have been great information about 2 years ago. And he was like, yeah, he's got a whole group. He founded it. He said, you should talk to him. I think you'd get along with him. That's kind of where it started. I had a first interview with Guy and their construction manager, Andy, and it just kind of took off. And we see very, very much the same thing when we're looking at whether it's a piece of land or a print. It's a really easy conversation between us.
Wow. Interesting. Fantastic. You have a background in sports yourself, right? You're a lacrosse player. Yeah. So looked like pretty serious lacrosse player back in high school and college. Are there any ways that sports have helped you be a better businessman?
100%.
Really? Tell me about that.
You understand this too, Mark, like growing a business, and especially like I'm a first generation guy. Like my mom was a teacher. My dad worked in a factory in a lumber yard for his career. He was a big basketball player, but it didn't go too far. And so like just the adversity that you deal with on a daily basis in sports in general, not just lacrosse. I mean, I'm a little biased. I'm a lacrosse guy. So I'm going to say there's a lot of adversity in lacrosse. You got the highs of the highs and the lows of the lows. And sometimes when you're growing a business and building it to where you want it to be, I would say that you have those same adversities, whether it's, something doesn't go your way on a job site or something doesn't get done right and you have to redo it. It's just like taking a shot on the goal in lacrosse. You're talking about percentages. I'm a big believer in the MJ, hey, just keep shooting and they'll drop. I was an offensive guy when I played field lacrosse. I played, high school, college. And then I played some semi-pro. I played a year pro indoors, and just even getting an opportunity to play indoor, especially in how many teams there are today in pro lacrosse, is extremely hard. And just going through that grind and then in adversity to get that opportunity was extremely hard. But when you push through, it's also extremely gratifying. And I feel the same way with my business, right? Like, of course, there's going to be doubters. There's a quote on my wall back here. It's a quote that I've followed for a long time, probably since about high school. But it says, work hard in silence, let your success make the noise. Sometimes you don't have to show anything. I'm still a big gym guy. I like going to the gym, making myself feel better. If you're working hard behind closed doors, you don't have to show it. Everything else it'll show it for you.
I love it. Adam, it's actually something I wanted to ask you about. Actually, is we talk about a lot of builders, people at all different levels of their career and different family situations. Some have got kids that are out of the house, some are almost retired, some are kind of a lot younger. And then I'm always really curious to hear kind of the backstory or sort of what's happening behind the scenes and kind of get into that. Something I don't talk a lot about, but I think it's just incredibly important. And it's something that Haley and I really focus on a lot here in our life, but it is being fit as fit as we possibly can be. I had a business coach tell me one time, he said, look, if you want to be great at business, you need to actually treat your workouts like you're a professional athlete. And I've heard people say that a CEO, it's like a responsibility of theirs to stay in shape. Sounds like you've got a full schedule. You've got, a couple of daughters. What do you do to stay in shape and to keep it really fit and healthy?
Yeah, going back to my lacrosse days and really focus on keeping myself prepared, whether it was for a game or for a new opportunity that kind of presented itself. I always had to be ready to go. I wish I could say that I was 100% every time, but just like in business, you're not, because life gets in the way. You have other things to do, but you still need to prepare. And one of the things that I try to do, and my wife is the same way, we both try to get to the gym, whether that's 3 or 4 times a week. If I can get a fifth day in there, great. We talk about it all the time. Like, we feel so much better, whether it's when I'm in doing business stuff or whether it's just, playing with my girls and living life. I always feel better if I can go to the gym, get focused, get centered, and really make my body feel better. Because playing lacrosse for 22 years straight, it beats you up pretty good.
Wow. Amazing. And then what are the age of your daughters?
So my first daughter, Charlotte, she is 8 years old. And then my second daughter, her name is Georgia, and she's 4 years old. 4-year-old, she's full life and I think stereotypical second child. I call her my bulldog. And then my 8-year-old Charlotte, she is the most loving, caring person you'll ever meet. And she's gotten into gymnastics, which she really loves.
Wow, amazing. Yeah, we saw on your prolific social media channels, Girl Dad, as part of your description there of who you are.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I tell everybody I wanted to have a daughter first, and I don't know why. It was just kind of my feeling. And then we were lucky enough to have one daughter, and then we had another daughter. So yeah, I'm just incredibly, happy with my girls and just so happy about it.
Oh, man, beautiful. And then, having a busy career with building and, the different things you guys are involved in, spend time at the gym. How do you kind of keep a balance there of, I mean, your girls are young, they're with you and their mom, and I mean, it's really close by, right? I mean, they haven't gotten into that phase of, junior high and high school yet where they're running around with their friends. How do you kind of make time? And then what type of things do you guys do when you're not being busy on a job site, talking with architects, getting, work planned out? Are you willing to share any of that stuff? How you guys have some balance and it's not just work all the time?
I would say it takes a village. I know a lot of people say that, but we surround ourselves with our family, which is incredible. We're very, very lucky in the fact that Jen's parents only live about 9 miles away here in Syracuse, and mine aren't too far away either. Mine still live in Rochester, but that's really kind of a drop in the bucket compared to some. Keeping that balance is something that I've had to really learn, because when I was first going at it and it was just me on the tools every single day, it became a conversation, right? Like, how can we make this a better fit? How can we make this a better balance? And that's really, I mean, you put it spot on, like the word balance. Since, kind of how we've figured out how the business is going to go now, being more custom builds, being, having a larger sub base and stuff like that, it's really helped me to allow me to really find that balance. And, sometimes it's like, I'm going to put the phone down and I'm just going to let it sit there for maybe an hour. And I would say most people, whether they're trying to get a hold of me, I will get back to them. But I think they understand, sometimes you just got to put it down, because you only get this once with your daughters, especially when they're 8 and 4 years old. And that's a big priority for me, is being able to be there, being able to take them to their sports stuff, to their school stuff. Like, I want to be involved in that. I don't want to be, 20 years down the road and say, oh my gosh, you guys are 16 years old. What happened?
Uh-huh. Interesting. Yeah. Well, fantastic, Adam. You guys have got a new website coming out here in the next few weeks. It's going to be showcasing more of you guys' beautiful work. We've seen some contractors on the show, and just, with our network here, talking about things have been slowing down. Sounds like you guys have probably got some of those things figured out. What does 2026 look like? You guys, we have a new site coming out in some other different areas. You're going to be marketing the business more. Sounds like you haven't done a lot of that in the past because you haven't needed to. Are you kind of in growth mode, or are you guys kind of in a really stable place that you're liking right now?
Yeah, I tell pretty much everybody that, if I could build anywhere from 3 to 4 high performance quality homes per year, I think that's where we want to be right now. That doesn't mean that, for instance, there's room for growth. Of course, there's room for growth, right? And the way that 2026 is shaping up is that we're going to be working, and there's plenty of it to go around. I'm very humble and very thankful that we don't advertise at all.
Hmm.
We are, I would say, 95% word of mouth and referral based. And then we obviously have our social media that I control. I do everything on there that you see. So if you're talking to Nauerth Homes or build Nauerth underscore SYR on Instagram, you're talking to me. My logo's there and everything, but you're really talking to me. We've just been very thankful for the word of mouth and people really helping us get to where we are right now.
Man, I love it. What a great story. Well, fantastic, Adam. Super grateful that you made time to be here on the show today. But if folks are looking to contact you here, especially, you actually got a couple of sites, but I'm thinking probably the new site's the best way to contact you guys. What are some good ways to get in contact with you here, at the beginning of the year and beyond?
Sure, yeah. So most people will reach out to either our email or with our new site, you'll be able to contact us through that. But our email is simply nauerthhomes@gmail.com. Our new website will have two ways to get there. You can either go to nauerthhomes.com or you can go to buildnorth.com. And also our Instagram, like I was just talking about, that is buildnorth underscore SYR. You can find us on there. A lot of our work is on there. And if you want to reach out to me, you can always reach out to me on my phone. It comes right to me. It doesn't go anywhere else. It's 585-469-4638.
Fantastic. Great. And guys, if you're listening to this, just to make sure that you get the spelling right, Adam's last name is got a unique spelling. It sounds like North, but it is spelled Nauerth. So if you're looking on Instagram or at his website, which is buildnorth.com, that's build, BUILD, Nauerth.com,
Right.
or give a cell phone number right here, generously 585-469-4638. Perfect, Adam. Well, we'd love to check back in here with you guys in a few months and just hear how things are going. But again, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to make time for us today.
Absolutely, Mark. I really appreciate the conversation.
Okay. All right. Take care, my man.